Get your next job off to the right start at Lowe's during our Just for Pros event now through July 23rd. Save $70 on the Bosch Freak 18-volt 2-in-1 impact driver kit with bonus accessories. Was $219 and now just $149. Or get pinpoint accuracy with the new Bosch Blaze 165-foot laser distance measure with Bluetooth connectivity. Only at Lowe's. Shop in-store or online. Lowe's, the new home for pros. Valid through 7/23, U.S. only.
Are you ready? Because travel is back. And in Arizona, epic reunions can happen. So start planning a girls' trip, a guy's weekend, or a family vacation to a place where selfies are fun again, date nights are extra special, and together is even better. Now's the time to get way out of the house. Rediscover Arizona. Start planning your getaway at rediscoveraz.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is a morning update. What's up, everybody, and greetings from Sin City. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day out there. We have another accuser who is opting out of the Survivors Fund and choosing instead to go directly after the estate. Now, we know that Priscilla Doe is taking the same strategy and running with it, considering she wasn't happy with what was offered from the compensation fund. So now, not only do we have Priscilla Doe out there making these moves and looking to literally go for the throat of the estate, we have also another accuser who is suing for $500 million. That's right, $500 million. This young lady is asking from the Epstein estate due to the abuse she received at Jeffrey Epstein's hands, according to her lawsuit. So let's jump into this article from the New York Post, and let's see what the heck is going on here. This article was authored by Yaron Steinbuch. Headline: Jeffrey Epstein accuser sues for $500 million after developing a bone disease. All right, so her name is Caroline Kaufman, and she has brought this suit forward and totally decided to do the end around on the compensation fund. Now, according to Ms. Kaufman, her treatment at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein, the abuse, accelerated her condition and really put her in a really bad place. So I say go for it, girl. Shoot for the stars. $500 million sounds like a decent starting point for me as well. Why not? A 27-year-old woman who claims she was raped by Jeffrey Epstein is suing the late pedophile's estate for $500 million, alleging she has a serious bone disease stemming from his brutal attack, according to a report. All right, look, I'm not a doctor by any means of the imagination. I'm not a private investigator. I'm not Sherlock Holmes. Hell, I'm not even Larry Holmes. So I'm certainly not qualified to talk about the merits of, getting a bone disease after a brutal attack, but this is what's in the lawsuit. And according to her, she has suffered severe consequences due to the behavior and the abuse at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. And while I'm not a doctor or scientist or anything like that, you have to think that the abuse received at the hands of somebody like Jeffrey Epstein most certainly can help accelerate whatever sort of condition you're suffering from. Like if you say you had anxiety, for instance, before you ran into Jeffrey Epstein, being abused by him would definitely increase that. And if you're run down, how much easier is it for your body to be attacked by whatever you have going on inside of you? Maybe cancer, maybe, shingles or whatever it may be. But a lot of this stuff is, can be stress-induced. There's no doubt about that. Caroline Kaufman, who last year said she was left suicidal after being raped by the billionaire, pedophile, at his Manhattan mansion during a fake model casting when she was 17, told The Sun she developed osteomyelitis after he hit her in the face. The rare and serious bone disease causes deep pain and muscle spasms, according to the news outlet. All right, so she developed this condition after the assault. So when you look at it, she didn't have this problem before Epstein raped her. And then she has the problem after Epstein rapes her and physically assaults her. Well, it certainly looks to me that you have some causation there, yeah? So, again, I'm really interested to see how this all plays out and to see how Miss Kaufman goes about things. But she has a proper lawyer, that's for sure. Spencer Cooven's her lawyer. So, you know she means business. Kaufman alleges that a woman approached her at a horse show in upstate Lake Placid and later called to invite her to Epstein's Upper East Side home, where she also was forced to give oral sex at a party attended by Prince Andrew, the Sun reported. So, according to Miss Kaufman, she was recruited from an upstate horse show up in Lake Placid, New York. And then she was brought down and, groomed and basically put to task by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. So much so that she performed fellatio on somebody while Prince Andrew was there. So that's pretty damning, right? She's not saying she performed it on Andrew, but the Joe Exotic of the Windsor family was there while a young girl was being trafficked. Probably should speak to the FBI, Joe Exotic of the Windsor family. You should probably stop riding around on your dumbass horse smiling at the crowd, Joe Exotic of the Windsor family, and speak to the authorities. We all get it. You're trying to cuddle up to mom, buying her a new corgi. We get it. But guess what? Nobody's buying it, okay? Nobody is buying your nonsense. The fact that another person, you have Miss Kaufman here alleging that Andrew was on property while she was being exploited. I mean, what more do you need? If you were Andrew, the Joe Exotic of the Windsor family, would you really need to be compelled to speak on this if somebody told you that you were at a party where a little girl was being assaulted or a young girl was being assaulted or a grown woman was being assaulted? You would need to be compelled to speak to the authorities? What does that say about you? What does that say about the character you possess or don't possess? I don't understand. I really don't understand how guys like that can not speak to the FBI and then be okay with it, right? You got daughters of your own, for Lord's sake. You got grandkids now, bro. What if somebody did this to your grandkid and the person was there and they didn't want to come forward? What if somebody did this to your daughter? So, Joe Exotic of the Windsor family, it's time to man up. Kaufman previously told the outlet that Andrew gave her a big hug and kind of brushed my breasts with his hand, though she can't be sure if he did this on purpose, and is not accusing him of any wrongdoing. I mean, in most instances, I'd be willing to give the person the benefit of the doubt, right? Oh, you give somebody a hug, there's accidental contact, your hand might rub against their breast, whatever it may be. But when you got somebody like Prince Andrew, who has a track record for being a disgusting pig, well, I automatically think that he did it on purpose. Now, I know, no evidence of that, of course. That's just speculation on my part. But that speculation comes from the character profile that we have built of this scumbag. Last year, Kaufman announced that she filed a lawsuit against Epstein's estate, telling the news outlet that she was left severely suicidal after the alleged rape. And you hear that a lot, right, with these girls, and not just in this case, but in general. One of the things that I've learned a lot about that I knew nothing about, honestly, was human trafficking. When I first started researching this story and digging into this story, I was super ignorant, folks. Super ignorant. I had no idea the scope, the magnitude and the misery that all of this caused. And it is one thing that I have seen from a very, very large portion of the articles that I've read about survivors from Epstein and other sick bastards is the suicidal thoughts that a lot of them deal with. You know, the battle of self-worth almost. And it's so sad, right? You read about this stuff and you see it over and over and over again, and there's no concerted effort from anyone in power to really put a stop to it. She said she also believed the Duke of York's pal, Ghislaine Maxwell, took nude pictures of her at the mansion. Well, that should be another charge for Ghislaine Maxwell. Imagine if you were out there taking pictures of a 17-year-old kid, 16-year-old kid in these sorts of situations. Why is it that Maxwell isn't charged for this as well? Again, if you were the prosecutors, wouldn't you charge her with every damn thing you could possibly find? I'd charge her with jaywalking if I could. The same way they love to throw hundreds and hundreds of charges at people, hundreds of RICO charges, hoping a predicate sticks. Why haven't they done that with Maxwell? Oh, this is a very targeted case, and we're only going to go... No, sorry, this case spans decades. Kaufman, who put the legal proceedings on hold while she applied for the Survivors Fund, claims she has rejected an undisclosed offer, calling it offensive, the Sun reported. And, look, again, none of us are in the position of these girls, right? We didn't suffer their abuse. We don't know. We can all have opinions on what we think we would do or what we wouldn't do, but I've said it from the jump. If girls don't feel like this compensation fund is right for them, then they should explore whatever pathways they feel are the correct ones for them to traverse to get the money and the recognition from the estate or Epstein's people that they deserve. And if they feel like they're being short-stacked, if they feel like people are trying to be a bit greedy and not pay out what they think they're owed, then hell, I say go for it. You know who doesn't want this to happen? Epstein's estate. Indike, Khan, and the rest of them. The last thing these guys want to do is get deposed. The last thing these guys want to do is have to answer for their role under oath in Jeffrey Epstein's criminal enterprise. And I can't state that enough. Epstein could have never done what he did without people like Khan and Indike. The Survivors Fund was given a total of $87 million, but Epstein's net worth was estimated to be more than $600 million. So her lawyer, Spencer Cooven, is seeking about $500 million, according to the report. Look, guys, let's be very real. Epstein had money parked all over the place. We don't even know how much money Epstein really had. There's been no forensic accountant going hard in the paint here that we know of to track this money down. And why should they leave any money on the table? Every last dollar should be distributed to these girls. It's a joke. $87 million of $600 million to the girls who were abused? An absolute joke. Where's the rest of the money? Where did it all go? We know Uncle Sam took their cut, but what about the rest of the money? Who is still being enriched on this? It's been difficult the past few months. I was going to go with the fund, but the offer was too low. It's not enough to cover surgery. I'm quite offended by the offer, Kaufman told The Sun. The amount of the amount of money the fund had, I don't believe it was distributed fairly. We're going to go ahead and go to court, she said. And that's your recourse, right? If you don't want to accept the money from the fund, if you think you're getting lowballed, if you think they're taking food off of your plate, well, accelerate it. And that's what she's going to do here, folks. We have two girls now, two ladies, who are accelerating their cases and moving forward with suing the estate of Epstein. And it's a big deal. It's definitely a big deal, and it needs to be talked about, because what other skeletons are going to come out of those closets? The jaw issue is caused by an injury in the past, and when I had the encounter with Epstein, he pinned me down and went to grab my arm, Kaufman continued. He forced my arm, and as he did that, he nicked my jaw. It's the only thing I can think of which has caused this, she added. I didn't tell anyone at the time because I didn't want to explain what happened. And again, if this was before I started researching the Jeffrey Epstein case, I'd be like, well, she should have told somebody. But it's not as easy as that. It's much more nuanced. What these girls, these women go through, people who have never experienced, they don't understand. You don't know the psyche. You don't know, the thoughts going through somebody's head and their feelings of self-worthlessness. Just a whole litany of things that somebody who has never went through it just couldn't understand. And I freely admit how ignorant I was up until this whole entire Jeffrey Epstein ordeal. And thankfully, I've learned a whole lot about the severity of the human trafficking issue and what we're really up against as a society if we want to protect the most vulnerable amongst us. Kaufman said she has suffered with the jaw issue for years, but claimed that it has recently worsened and she received her diagnosis, adding that she is scheduled for surgery this month. It's extremely painful. I've been to the emergency room for it. My face is swollen and I'm on medication, Kaufman told The Sun. I've lost days of work. I ride horses. I feel physically exhausted because of it, and I've had difficulty eating, she said. So there's a bunch of pictures in this article of her as well, when as a young girl just enjoying her life. So make sure you click on the link and check that out as well. Now, as far as jaw hurting, I get that. I, might have been punched in the face once or twice in my life. Might have had a swollen jaw once or twice in my life. And it doesn't feel good, that's for sure. Not being able to eat sucks. Every time you open your mouth and try and close it to chomp down on food, pain. So I know when I had a bit of a jaw issue for a couple of weeks, I was eating a lot of soup. So definitely must not be comfortable for her with all these other issues as well. I want to get the money for my surgery, but also to start a charity and give money to other survivors out there, Kaufman added. The girls who have come forward have made a difference to my life. Without them, I thought I'd die without ever telling anybody. And again, this goes back to the courageous moves by the survivors to come out and put these sons of bitches on blast. Virginia and Courtney and Maria and Annie and, Margie, all of these ladies who have come forward and said, yes, this happened to me. Yes, this occurred. And no, you will not ignore it any longer. Have given a lot of courage and a lot of motivation to other girls to come forward. Kaufman said she became a stripper and worked in the porn industry after the alleged rape. I went through a long period of depression and I stopped riding horses. I didn't think I was good for much and used for sex. And this is the tale, right? Unfortunately, the tale we always hear with a lot of these girls who have been raped or abused or come from abused homes. First, they start out as strippers, right? Then, they progress from that to either working the streets as call girls or prostitutes, or they move into pornography. And that's the cycle that these girls have to look forward to in a lot of cases. And it's a cycle that needs to be broken. Because you were abused or raped or whatever happened, that doesn't make you worth less. And as a society, we need to promote that more, right? You're the victim, all right? It's not your fault that this happened. But there's too much victim blaming and shaming that occurs, and honestly, it's gross. And I see too much of it. I went down the wrong path. I started stripping at 18, and I also got into porn. That whole lifestyle has drugs involved, and it's been a hard road of recovery, Kaufman added, saying that she is really grateful for my new life and that I have a second chance at everything. And look, who doesn't love a comeback story. At least here in America, folks, we love us a good comeback story. Somebody who goes through it, hits rock bottom, and then comes back and finds a piece of success. Oh yeah, that is as American as apple pie, folks. And thankfully, we've had some real good comeback stories in the Epstein case. But when it comes to human trafficking, unfortunately, there's not enough of that. Kuvin, who also represents other alleged survivors, told The Sun, Caroline has a very serious medical condition she has had to take care of, and she has had a very uncertain future as a result. As far as her medical condition is concerned, I would leave medical causation issues up to the physician, he said. That's the approach I take as well. I'm not a doctor, right? You guys should know by now I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up your ass, make pretend I know everything about everything, because that's not the case. And there's too many people that go down that road who act like they're an expert in every field. Well, I don't know shit about the medical field. I don't know anything about causation when it comes to her ailments. So I'll leave that up to the doctors, right? But if there's clinical support that's the type of abuse she suffered at Epstein's hands could be related to some of the conditions that she has, then obviously we'll pursue that theory in litigation, Kuvin said. With her medical problems and complications from that, our goal is to take care of her as well and as long as we possibly can, he added. And that should be always the goal of the lawyer, right? Try and get as much compensation for your client to help now and in the future as you possibly can. And Spencer Kuvin is most certainly doing his best here. Andrew, 61, a.k.a. the Joe Exotic of the Windsor family, became wrapped up in the Epstein scandal after Virginia Roberts claimed she was forced to sleep with the royal when she was 17. The scandal led him to step back from his royal duties in November 2019 after a disastrous BBC interview in which he offered a slew of bizarre claims to defend himself against Roberts' allegations. Well, we all know how that went down. Everyone says a car crash of an interview. Screw that. It was the Hindenburg, the Titanic of interviews. One of the worst ones I have ever seen. And the fact that this joker, this clown, refuses to come out and speak on the record and speak to the authorities is all you really need to know about the person who calls himself a prince. Maxwell is being held in Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center on sex trafficking charges for allegedly procuring underage girls for the multi-millionaire pedophile who committed suicide, allegedly, in his Manhattan jail cell in 2019 while awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges. Well, folks, there you have it. Another one of these women. That makes two that I can count on my 10 fingers as of now, that have decided no compensation fund for them, and as they would say in the mafia, instead, they're taking it to the mattresses. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. All of the links that go with this episode can be found in the description box. All right, folks, we'll see what the day brings, and if there's some more news to get to, there'll be a daily drop. If there's not, well, there'll be a flashback episode for you to feast on. All right, everybody, I will be back either later or tomorrow, so I hope you all have a fantastic day.
Pros know that the right tools make a difference. Get the new Flex 24-volt line of industry-leading power tools exclusively at Lowe's. During our Just for Pros event now through July 23rd, save on the Flex 24-volt brushless 4-tool combo kit. Was $399 and now just $349. It gets the job done with more power, longer runtime, and faster charging. Shop in-store or online today. Lowe's, the new home for pros. Versus National Home Centers for Flex 24-volt. Valid through 7/23, U.S. only. Here's a pro tip. You won't want to miss the Just for Pros event at Lowe's, now through July 23rd. Power all of your toughest jobs and save with guaranteed tough DeWalt power tools. Take your pick of over 200 DeWalt 20-volt power tools and hit the job site with the hard-working tools you need. And while you're at it, add some new DeWalt accessories to your toolbox. Visit a Lowe's store today for the largest selection of DeWalt power tools and accessories. Lowe's, the new home for pros. Valid through 7/23, U.S. only.